Welcome to another year of Refried Scenes. We were going to be bright and cheerful and very, exuberant for this episode, but...
As we typically are.
As we are. I mean, we are bright and cheerful people. But we are recovering from different things right now. So...
New year, same old tired
same old tired butts. But we're here to record, and that is good enough. So I am Carol.
And I'm Mia.
And welcome to Refried Scenes, where we are doing, we were supposed to do Rebecca, but
had trouble
finding the 1940 version.
Yeah, there was a source that I found online, and it includes ad breaks. So after the first ad break, it just started another movie altogether. And so we made a judgment call.
Yeah, we rolled the dice again. I have to say, I looked for it, and it's not available to rent anywhere either, so I don't know if that is a property issue or what, but right now, the 1940 Rebecca is kind of hard to find. So we rolled, and we got La Cage aux Folles and the Birdcage, which is a totally different vibe. And my cat is coming to join us. No, Persephone, you're not part of this. So
Persephone, we're not actually podcasting about birds.
Yeah, the title actually is French for Cage of Mad Women, so it doesn't.
I was wondering.
Yeah, it doesn't even deal with bird. Well, the bird.
Maybe birds is like a slang term for.
Yeah, I'm assuming so.
Mad women.
Yeah. So we're going to start in 1978 with the French film La Cage aux Folles, based on the play by the same name, and a very popular play in Europe. And this is a very popular movie. It was actually nominated for several awards. And it's not a bad film, actually. I had not seen either of these beginning to end, so this was new to me. This tells the story of Rinaldo and Albin, who own a nightclub called La Cage aux Folles. Rinaldo is kind of the manager, and Albin is the lead performer. It's a drag club, and Albin is the lead performer. He dances as Zaza, and everybody comes to see Zaza. And as the movie begins, Albin is having a breakdown. And this seems to be a common occurrence.
It seems like this is not Albin's first breakdown.
No.
This is something that everybody in her life?
Well, as Zaza, she's a she, yes. Yeah. So.
Is accepted.
Yeah.
Accepted is just, that's a personality.
Yeah. So, she is having a breakdown, doesn't want to go on stage, thinks she's fat, thinks she's ugly. It's very typical. And Rinaldo goes in and tries to boost her and say, no, you're going to go on stage. These people are here to see you. And Rinaldo immediately gets a mark in the con section of my notebook for hitting Zaza. She says, what are you going to do? Hit me? Go ahead. Hit me. And so he hits her. And it's treated as kind of a thing that happens a lot. So that wasn't pleasant. It was not a very good introduction to the character of Rinaldo, who could probably pass as straight if he wanted to.
And in fact
did for a while, because Rinaldo has a son, Laurent, who is in his early 20s. I don't think they actually give an age in the original performance.
I don't think so, but very young.
He's very young. Rinaldo was in a relationship with Laurent's mother, but she left. And I get the assumption, it's not spelled out, but I get the assumption that she left when he came out of the closet. Because him and Albin have been together for 20 years, and she has not seen Laurent for 20 years. So you kind of get the feeling that she left completely when he came out of the closet.
I felt like she left when she delivered the baby.
That could also be.
Did not want to be a maternal figure.
Yeah, she is not a part of Laurent's life. For his parents, to him, are Rinaldo and Albin. But he's getting married, and he's marrying, I've got Barbara, and that's the second one. What is her name? Simone. Her name is Simone. And her parents are incredibly conservative. Her father is a high-ranking member of the Moral Order,
Mm-hmm.
which is like the far right in America.
I didn't know that there was a far right in France.
I didn't either, but
you know what I mean?
Like this is 1978, so maybe there was at that time. But yes, thank you. Did she get you?
She got my sweater.
Oh, okay. And you know, okay. Please stop. I know. But he's a high-ranking member of the Moral Order, and unfortunately for him, his president has just died while in the arms of a black prostitute who's also a minor. So typical of the far right. They're hypocrites as well. But his daughter, Simone, in an effort to kind of make things easier, tells her parents that, excuse me,
they want to seek the approval of her conservative parents. So,
well, she lies to them.
You're right. She does. She does absolutely lie to them.
She tells her father that his dad is a cultural attaché. I don't think it's Greece in the original.
No.
But that he's a high-ranking cultural attaché and that his mother is a housewife. And they have several children.
And haven't been divorced. And
are very proper. And naturally, her parents want to meet his parents. So Laurent is there to set up this dinner. And
convince
his dad to just kind of pull off being straight. Because he wants to seek her parents' approval. And
which is where I have a problem.
Yeah, I have to say, probably the least sympathetic character in both movies is the son for me.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll get into that in a moment. But here, it's kind of like, okay, in order to pull this off, Albin's going to have to leave. Because Albin, I don't use this term in a derogatory way. He's an exaggeration. He's very swishy. Everything here is it's a farce, so everything is turned up to 11. He's just very exuberant and very gay. He can't. He's not going to pass.
He's not straight passing.
Yeah. So they're going to send Albin away for a couple of days, and at that point, I don't think they had a plan for the mother.
And going back to Albin, as we described, is already quick to
hysterics.
so they're all trying to be delicate, and this is part of the comedy.
Yeah.
Trying to be delicate.
And naturally, he doesn't take this news well.
No.
And then Ronaldo, I have to say Ronaldo got points for me at one juncture because he's talking to his son, and his son's telling him this plan. We gotta impress her parents. Can you please remove all the phallic decor from your house and tone everything down and, be somebody you aren't, basically. And his dad looks at him and says, yes, I'm not going to use the term he uses because I'm not going to drop the F-bomb here because it's used in both movies, but it's used by gay men. Yes, I wear makeup. Yes, I live with a man. Yes, I'm queer. It's taken me 20 years to get here. I'm not going back. So, but then he immediately does a 180 and says, okay, fine, we'll do this. And removes all of the stuff, all of the flamboyance from his apartment.
Changes the walk.
Yeah. Changes his walk. Changes how he holds his cigarette. And asks Albin to leave. Albin refuses. And so they're going to try and have Albin pass as an uncle. But that's not going to work. So Albin, in a fit of hysterics, just he says he's not going to attend. And they decide to call Laurent's mother, who nobody has seen for 20 years. But Ronaldo goes to visit her, and she says she'll do it. Since she hasn't done anything for Laurent, she'll do it. And then she comes on to him, and it's just a really weird scene.
Yeah, it's like they are reminiscing about...
Because they actually used to be in a relationship.
Yeah, so they're reliving the highlights.
Yeah, I guess so.
And the passion that they had, and the attraction that they had towards each other. Yeah. Which is,
That's fine, except Albin's in the waiting room.
there's a time and place for that, and usually you're single when you do that. Or at least
not in a relationship. And so, but she agrees to come, and Albin again is in a fit of hysterics because he has seen Ronaldo and this woman kind of in heavy flirtation.
Who he has said he never wants to see again.
He never wants to see him again. He's actually going to go live in the cemetery. He's going to go to the cemetery.
No, but he said early in the movie he never wants to hear her name.
Hear her name. Yeah. This was not, this is where I thought that, okay, this is why she has been out of Laurent's life for this long. It's because of Albin. Which is why Albin doesn't want to hear her name at all, either. But she agrees to come, and Albin agrees not to show himself. And the dinner starts, and the paparazzi are following Simone's father everywhere because of this,
because of his political...
Yeah, because of this political
and the scandal. Yeah.
And so they go there and then realize that the apartment is above the nightclub. And so there's a question of, why is there a nightclub underneath your apartment?
Did you know there's this nightclub?
This scandalous nightclub below? And Ronaldo's like, I just rent it to them. It wasn't like that when I rented it to them.
They didn't tell me what
they were going to do. And they start the dinner, but Laurent's mother is a little late. So Albin drags himself up and goes out and pretends to be his mom. And look, we all know he's a drag queen. So he's not fooling the audience, but he is fooling her parents. for the most part here, he's fooling her parents.
Yeah.
Except when the wig starts to come off.
Right.
And the dinner is farcical. It's back and forth. They're trying to meet. Well, they're not trying to meet midway because the conservative parents aren't giving anything at this point.
No.
Laurent's parents are trying to just get through the dinner, quite frankly, so they can go back to being who they actually are. And that's when Laurent's mother actually shows up. And then there's this, well, who is his actual mother? And I don't think Laurent says it's No, Ronaldo in this one says it's Albin.
I think it's Laurent.
Is it Laurent?
I think it's Laurent.
Okay, because Laurent in the first film was pissing me off royal.
This was the one moment that he redeemed himself.
The one moment that, because he says, this is my parent. Because Albin has raised him for 20 years. So yeah, that's your parent. And they come clean and say, yes, we own the club. And yes, we're a couple. And the parents are like, we're leaving. You're coming with us, Simone. The wedding's off. And they go to leave, and there's paparazzi just surrounding the place. So they have no way of getting out of this.
Like the paparazzi block the exit.
Yeah.
So the only way they can come out
is through the front.
through the nightclub, which is a paparazzi tactic to get that tabloid photo,
right,
of the senator or whatever
coming out of a drag club.
Yeah.
So they're like, how do we get out of there without being noticed? And so
Albin's like, oh, I got this.
I've
got wigs. I've got makeup. We're doing this.
Yeah. We got dresses, and I'm sorry it's not black. You're going to look fat, Mr. What is her name in this one? De Blonde. Yeah. Simone de Blonde. Yeah. Anyway. So they drag them up and they get them out of the club, and then the representative, her father, goes to his chauffeur, and this was actually this made me laugh out loud.
It did make me laugh out loud also.
She because he's completely dragged up, goes to his chauffeur and is like, take me to this intersection, and the chauffeur's like, how much? Because he thinks that she. And I'm like, okay. He's, I'm your boss. But it ends with the wedding. They actually do get married, and Albin and Ronaldo are fighting in the pews because that's what they do. But this is...
And Albin's hysterics.
In hysterics because Laurent's mother has shown up. This was a fun film. I have to say, it hasn't aged as badly as I thought it would. There's some...
Well, that's because of our society.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. There are some iffy instances in here. Ronaldo hitting Albin was like, ooh, dude, what the hell?
We don't condone violence unless it's, consensual boudoir stuff. And then...
they do have a butler named... what's his name? Is it Jerome?
I don't know.
Jacob is their butler. Their butler is black, and he is scantily clad for the vast majority of the film. And then has to, dress up as a proper butler for the dinner. But he doesn't do shoes well. So the big thing is he keeps tripping because shoes make him trip. Which I didn't find all that funny.
No, I can imagine that was something that was funny on the stage play.
Yeah.
And
it just should translate real well.
It should have changed to film.
Yeah.
But that wasn't like something that really took away from me from the movie.
And I have to say that character thankfully isn't a caricature. He's every gay man in this is just dialed to 12, basically.
Yeah.
And that's part of the farce. But I think it actually portrays a very loving gay couple, aside from the violence, that have been together for 20 years and have raised a son. And I think for 1978, that's kind of progressive. Because I don't think you got that a whole lot.
And I don't know what France was like in 1978. Yeah. I know that France is like the fashion capital of the world. So I thought that there would be like more accepting, but maybe that's my ignorance.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They're not really, in their neighborhood they are accepted. But even there are comments toward Albin when he goes out shopping.
Yeah, and I thought that was strange to me.
Yeah.
So there were some nuances that were just lost on me because I'm not familiar with the France 1978.
But the kids come off as far just unsympathetic here. From Laurent just immediately going, well, we have to hide Albin.
And Simone sitting there with just nothing to say.
And lying to her parents.
I didn't like her at all. I didn't like her at all.
Yeah, I had that problem with both movies. They tone her down a tiny bit. We can get to the Birdcage here in a moment. Yeah. This actually spawned 2 sequels. There's a La Cage aux Folles 2, which is a murder mystery, and same actors. And a La Cage aux Folles 3. I have not seen either of those, but they're both on Tubi, and I'm curious now.
Yeah, because I watched the first one on Tubi, and it auto-played to the second one. But then I didn't watch it because I had to get in the Birdcage.
Yeah, so
I'd be interested though. Yeah. I'd watch it.
Yeah, because these are both. Yes, it's a farce and everything's dialed up to 12, but it's not like they're not portrayed as hustlers, which is what every gay man was portrayed as in American cinema in 1978. If you were gay in cinema in 1978 in America, you were just sleeping with every guy that you came across. And these two aren't portrayed as that. They're middle-aged guys who have been in a 20-year relationship. So they're very much a married couple.
They have the same marital spats that every 20-year-old relationship has.
Yeah.
And they raised a child together.
Yeah.
Which is really damn cool. Like, a single dad...
Yeah.
Raising a child.
Yeah.
And the mom going off. Yeah. I like that. But I really don't like the idea that it's just normal to expect the gay couple to dial down.
Yeah.
To meet the approval of a conservative couple. But that's the premise that we have.
I could see Laurent coming in and saying, could you hide the giant statue with the giant penis?
Yes.
But it's not just that. It's hide everything that is flamboyant about you. The entire apartment. Yeah, the art had to come down. The walls had to be bare. They get this huge crucifix from the antique store next door. and it's they actually make the comparison to a monastery when the dinner starts. And it's like, okay, now you're just removing all of your dad's personality. So, yeah, the kids were, like, not my favorite characters in this film. Albin is incredibly sympathetic. I actually felt for Albin in this one.
Yeah.
But jump ahead to 1996, and we get the American remake, The Birdcage, starring Robin Williams and Nathan Lane as Armand, and
Albert.
And we start the same way. Albert, the club's name is now The Birdcage, so we keep the name of the club as the title, and Albert is having a meltdown. Only it's Nathan Lane, so the meltdown is dialed to 20. And instead of hitting him, here Albert just pushes his face. It's not violent. It's not as violent.
You make it sound violent. Did he push his face?
He grabbed his face and pushed him. It's not, but it wasn't done. Yeah, he did the whole push.
I actually did not see that.
Yeah. Because Albert does use the line, you want to hit me? Go ahead, hit me, which is the same thing from the original. And, only in French. but Albert, or, Armand here just kind of grabs his face and pushes him away. And it's not done violently or anything, even though Albert goes, oh, when he falls. So. But
I must have gotten to refill my drink or something. I apologize. I didn't see that part.
But, because it's Nathan Lane, we actually see part of his performance. This is a good half an hour longer than the original, and a lot of it is because you're seeing Nathan Lane perform. He does the bit of a number here.
Yeah, there's rehearsal times that you see,
and then there's rehearsal times. I will say, there's a part in both films. Albin and Albert think that their partner is cheating on them because there's white wine in the fridge, and neither of them drink white wine, and everyone's being cagey about someone coming over, and where do you go when I perform? And both films play it as, yes, they're cheating on him, but then it's their son. So it's kind of, in the original, it's played very well because he's like dimming the lights a little bit. There's a small dinner laid out, and then it's not until the kid calls him Papa that you're like, oh, it's his kid. You know? And it's done the same here. But the child's name is now Val, which, I don't know, I'm not quite sure why they didn't just Lawrence it, but his name's Val, and he's even less sympathetic in this one.
Man, this kid's a dick. This kid reminds you of, like, just every spoiled ass kid.
Yeah. I didn't think that the kid could get any less sympathetic than Laurent, but yeah, Val is just, he's not a very good son. Let me just say that.
Absolutely not.
Because the same thing happens. He says he's getting married, and that he wants to impress her parents, and so his dad has to tone it down, and he wants to have a dinner with a mom and dad. And once again, Barbara, that's the fiance here, lies to her parents, who are played by Diane Wiest and Gene Hackman. He's a senator.
Which are so fun.
Yeah.
So fun to see Gene Hackman be conservative.
He's a conservative senator.
Like, and I think at one point he was like saying Rush Limbaugh is too...
That's just what Rush Limbaugh is.
Too liberal. Or who was it? Who was the North Carolina? Billy Graham. Billy Graham is too liberal.
But he's a conservative senator here, and I don't think they're from Florida because they drive an awful long way to get to South Beach. Is he from Florida?
I think Florida's a big state.
Okay,
I think they're in Florida, but
the once again, his partner in one of the moral bills that they've like introduced this bill in the Senate, and his partner in this bill has been found dead in the arms of an underage black prostitute. Of all the things that Mike Nichols didn't change for this one, it's the underage black prostitute. As a matter of fact, he has her on TV. And I was like, oh, you couldn't change that to something else? There's very little minority representation in either film. You get the butler in the first one. But here, I swear the only black character is that underage black prostitute that shows up on TV. And it's played for a laugh. And I'm like, okay, you have a minor who's prostituting herself. I don't think it's funny in either version. I didn't...
Many of the paparazzi and the journalists were black, but
don't have...
These are side characters without names.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And instead of a black character as your butler, you have Hank Azaria playing Guatemalan, I think.
Definitely Guatemalan. We heard it 50 times.
Yeah, but he doesn't sound like any Guatemalan I have ever heard in my life. It's... And I know it's played for laughs, but I didn't find it all that funny.
It's just not funny when you're making fun of a culture.
Yeah.
It's just not funny.
Yeah. And I will say this about the 78 version. They're not making fun of Jacob's culture in the slightest.
No.
He's just gay.
No, I think the part that's played for laughs in the original to me
is the shoes.
Well, definitely the shoes.
Yeah.
But I was going to say when Laurent is going through and it's like the montage of the things that need to be changed.
Yeah.
Because of the way that he tries to communicate it without being direct.
Yeah.
Like he sort of says something like, could you change some of the art around here? And then the camera pans to like the phallic statue.
Yeah. There's penises everywhere.
Some paintings, and he's like, and change your jewelry or like how you hold your hand or something.
How you hold your cigarette, how you hold your hand. Yeah.
But it was just, I don't know. There was something about that was played for laughs.
Yeah.
To me.
But here, the whole character of the butler is one big joke.
Yeah.
And I didn't find it funny.
Like he's a butler that can't cook.
Yeah, he's a butler that can't cook. Won't wear... Again, the shoes are also not here because it make him trip, and so he's tripping all over the place.
He's not tripping. He's like
falling all over the place. But it's just... To me, it was less funny here. And I think it's just because it's Hank Azaria being like... To me, they were making fun of the Guatemalan culture. His peasant soup is inedible.
It was definitely a Hispanic,
so that was,
a gay Hispanic trope.
It was that was cringy. That was very cringy.
But I think he was praised for that performance.
Am I wrong? So. And I don't think I think he was actually praised, and I don't know, and I think that's because it was 1996. Now he would be, now he is, because, you have people, he did the voice of Apu in The Simpsons for years and years and years, and now it's like, dude, you want to tone back the Indian impersonation there? So it's like that. It's,
a product of the times.
A product of the times, and I didn't necessarily find it funny. And here, Val is even more, like, you have to cover all the walls, because there's, like...
Yeah, he didn't play that funny whatsoever.
No.
He was direct and insulting.
Yeah, it's not... In the original, like you said, it's played for laughs, where it's like, you need to tone things down, and they're, like, focusing on the 17 penises that are in the art. Here, it's like, everything about his dad is wrong.
He just nitpicks him to death.
Yeah, the way he wears his hair, the fact that he wears a pinky ring.
He freaking takes his finger and swipes foundation off of his dad's face.
He does that in the original as well.
Oh, that is just don't touch my face.
But here, the apartment, it's not as blatant as the original. It just looks.
It looks like an artsy, like an apartment you'd find in any arts district.
But he's asking him to take a painting off the wall that's of a guy that doesn't even have any nudity in it, and I'm like, why?
Yeah, many of the artwork
were just fine, but it was just guys, and so everything that was male oriented, had to be removed, and you're covering up all the walls with these curtains, and they once again get the huge crucifix.
Except they forgot the bowls. The soup bowls.
The soup bowls, yeah. Oh, yeah, and both times the china has, like, indecency. Greek guys doing Greek guy things on the china. And That's played for laughs, and that was actually kind of funny. It's like, I've never seen these bowls before. This must be new China. And that's kind of funny, but the way the way Val was acting toward his father here was just incredibly disrespectful. And you go through the same thing where he wants Albin to leave. Albin won't leave. His dad says no. They try and pass Albin as his uncle, but Albert's just not going to pass at all. It's Nathan Lane, for Pete's sake.
It was so sweet of him to try, though.
Yeah.
So sweet.
It was.
That's
in
the
both
only
instances, it was sweet of him to actually attempt it.
That's the impression that you get from as an audience member, that...
Yeah. He's trying.
He's trying, and points to Armand for going, you know what? It's just going to hurt him too much to send him away. He's staying.
So, the dinner happens, and here, Val's mom she wasn't, like, totally absent. This is the way I read it, that she was a surrogate.
Really?
That's the way I read it.
No, I didn't read it that way.
Okay.
The two of them were in a play together.
And they just had it. Okay.
They had
a fling and okay.
They had a fling one time.
Because it's not played like the original where she immediately comes on to him.
Yeah.
It's slight, but it's not as blatant. And Albert in this one isn't as...
She's flirtatious, but you feel like she'd be flirtatious with anybody that comes into this office.
Plus, she's flirting with Robin Williams. I can kind of see it. He was attractive in a very manic way. But Albert also isn't as, like, dead set against her as the first one. So, to me, it wasn't like... Yeah, it's like, so first one, I got the feeling that Albin broke up a marriage. This one, I got the feeling that Armand just had a fling and went back or got together with Albert. There was no
that's how I took it too. Yeah.
So there's no like direct hideous animosity between Albert and Val's mother in the second one. But she is invited. She says she's going to she'll do the dinner. And good for the mom in both ones to say, I'll do this thing.
Yeah.
And, I haven't been in part of this kid's life for 20 years. I might as well do something. But she's caught in traffic because it's South Florida and traffic doesn't move. And the dinner starts and Nathan Lane comes out dressed as Barbara freaking Bush. That's the only... If this was a complaint with both of these movies, is that the drag that Albin and Albert puts on for the dinner is not good. It's not good drag.
Well, but to me that was forgivable because he's not used to doing drag as
he's not doing as a woman, as a parent. Yeah. Okay.
This was not performance drag.
Yeah. This is like, I need to pass drag. But Nathan Lane comes out dressed as Barbara Bush, basically, and starts talking with Gene Hackman and telling him, "Oh, I agree with everything I agree with your moral majority and prayer in schools and abortion laws and
it starts to disagree at the point where it was like
gays in the military, gays in the military."
Talk about Alexander
when you think about Alexander the Great.
I used to think that too, darling, but then
Alexander the Great. There you go, gays in the military. So, dinner is going very poorly here, because not only is the China god indecent, the Greek guys doing indecent things to each other, but the soup is terrible because, oh god, what's his name?
I can't remember his name.
He names himself Spartacus for the dinner. It's like Agapo. It's so... The whole... Oh, this is... Okay, I'm on Le Cage. The whole character, Hank Azaria's whole character is just not good. It's just not good at all. Where is he? Agato Spartacus. But he can't cook, so he's made no entree. He's only made this peasant soup, which is inedible, and everyone's drinking very, very heavily. And Gene Hackman starts to think that Nathan Lane is attractive. And And they sing and
They
dance.
just don't make women like that anymore.
Yeah, they sing and dance for a little bit, but everything's starting to fall apart the longer the dinner goes on. And then Val's mom shows up, and we get the same scene. It's like, who's his mother? And at this point, Val does say this is my mom, and points to Albert. And, these two people raised me. They own the nightclub downstairs. Albert is the star performer, and that's just the way it's going to be. And they go to leave, and once again, the paparazzi has followed them because of this political scandal, and they can't leave anywhere but through the front door of the club. And so you get to see Gene Hackman in drag, which is a sight to see. And they dance out of the club to We Are Family. Here you don't get the same joke. Here I thought it was kind of hateful, because I like the joke at the end of that scene in the first one where he's like, take me to this, and the driver's like, how much? Here it's like, take me to this corner, not for $1 million, lady. And I'm like, okay, that's just rude. Because Gene Hackman doesn't look that bad.
Yeah,
he does. He
does. But the thing is, he still thought she was a prostitute.
Right. So, and then you end with the marriage. There's an additional quirk here that they not only have to pretend to be straight, they have to pretend to be Christian, because Val's dad is Jewish, and they change. You got to go by Coleman instead of Goldman, because she told her dad, you're.
That was part of her lie.
Yeah, it was part of her lie. And I'm like, that's kind of an unnecessary add-on here. And, yeah, so it's not like...
I wonder why they did that.
I don't know.
Is the director Jewish?
It's Mike Newell. I don't think he was. I didn't think he was.
I wonder why they
And I know Robin Williams is it. So I don't know why they added that additional layer onto it. It's like you're pretending to be straight, but also pretend to be Christian. It just seemed unnecessary to me. But you end with the wedding, and you end with, Armand and Albert kind of sniping at each other, but in a loving way.
Yeah.
And that's,
And you know that whatever differences each family has, they are still supporting the union.
Yeah.
The marriage.
Yeah, both sets of parents are at the wedding. So an agreement has been reached at some point. They found a happy middle ground, apparently, in both films. Which I didn't think would happen, because, man...
I was hoping it wouldn't happen, honestly.
You were hoping
But I mean, I knew that it was a comedy, so...
Yeah.
I knew that it would. But the thing for me here is... I've got a child. If they come to me that they're getting married at 18 years old or 20 years old, like
you're going to wait a couple years. Yeah. These kids are incredibly young, and it's like
I'm going to take issue. That's the issue that
it's
I'm
like,
taking.
okay, you can get married after you've been engaged for a year.
Like let's. Why don't you live together first?
You can live together for a year or two and then get married. But I know her parents would probably never go for that. But she openly tells her father that we've been sleeping together for a year. She can tell her father that they've been having sex for a year, but she can't tell her father that his parents are gay. That, I don't know. There's the whole...
I didn't like her at all. She only said that for shock value to empower herself. But then she did not have the guts to do that where other people are concerned.
Yeah.
You're not ready to get married, honey.
The only time she showed any... I actually liked her character was when Albert was starting to lose his wig, and it's, the dinner's falling apart, and she escorts him to the bathroom.
She was like, "Can I see you in the bathroom?"
Yeah. And then I'm like, okay, there you're acting like a decent human being. The Simone in the first one is just like, she's just she's like a statue. She doesn't do anything.
Absolutely. And honestly, there's really no change in the scene, so I think it just translated better for me in English.
Yeah.
But when she was explaining to her parents that Armand is a cultural attaché and from the Greece committee, I don't even remember. I don't even remember what she said. I can see how she got to those steps by not stretching the truth too much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's something that I would say...
He's in the arts.
If I was in a workplace situation and I'm trying to not give something that's private away, this is how I would communicate.
Yeah. Either way, so that's La Cage aux Folles and the Birdcage.
Yes.
They
so now
really
we're going to talk about what we like better.
Yeah, they really are similar. Mike Newell just added some bits to the Birdcage because it is almost a half an hour longer. And you can really tell La Cage aux Folles comes across very much as a stage play. Very limited
action.
Yeah, very limited action. You're only like outside a couple of times. Albert going shopping and then going to the cemetery because that's where he's going to live now, where all the monsters live.
A lot of expressive facial reactions to things.
And oddly, in the original, both characters were played by straight men. In the remake, Nathan Lane is gay, but Robin Williams isn't. So, but I think both films treat the gay community kind of better than most movies did. You have your problem characters.
They were not pro-conservatism.
No. I do like the fact that in the original, it's Albin and Ronaldo's anniversary. It's their 20-year anniversary. And everybody from the club doesn't realize that this dinner is happening. And so they make this big cake. And they bring it up, and there's this huge parade of drag queens going through this dinner, kissing everybody, singing happy anniversary to them. And I'm like, that's sweet.
Very sweet.
So which did you like better?
I liked the Birdcage better because it flowed better for me. And there were, I did not like... I hated Val.
Yeah.
Okay? That's clear. But I did not hate him as much as I hated Simone in the original. And the original dragged for me, and I do not intend that pun. It was slow. And it was, even though it was less runtime, it was slow because of the lack of visual, action.
Yeah. You don't see a whole lot of the club in the original.
No.
You see it at the beginning and at the end. Here, in the Birdcage, the club is kind of you see a lot of South Florida. Or South Beach. You see a lot of it. He pans down the street with, all these cars parked and people in their bikinis. I'm going to give the edge to the Birdcage, even though I can't stand Val. But I didn't like Laurent either. So the kid in both instances is a problem character for me because it's like, you are an asshole. And if your fiance's parents can't handle your parents, that's on them. I mean, I suppose that's on them. It's not up to your parents to change everything about themselves to make.
Yeah, I think you and I both were in marriages where, you know, we didn't exactly love our in-laws.
Yeah, no.
And perhaps vice versa.
Yeah. And there was a time where I was having to not talk because I didn't want to offend anybody, but I'm like, I
definitely bit my tongue.
You can't keep doing that for years and years and years and years and years. And I think it's just disrespectful for that kid to just come to his dad and say, just change everything about yourself. And the way he treated, I'm giving it to the Birdcage, but it's minor because the way he treated Albert in the Birdcage, I think is actually worse than in the original. Because there's not a whole lot of, here he's just looking him right in the eye and saying, we need you to go.
He was setting up dinners with his dad without telling Albert. Well, and that's in both versions.
Yeah.
I don't understand why that was.
Yeah.
Because if Albert raised Laurent Val, then why the secret dinners?
Yeah. Why on earth?
So there are problems here that they didn't dive into.
Yeah.
But
the most that was said in the Birdcage is, you've always tried to keep your son from me. And Albert says that to Armand, and it's kind of a throwaway line. So I'm not, that I don't know. Maybe I needed a little bit more of that relationship from both movies. But I'm giving the edge to Birdcage because I like Gene Hackman better. He's a much better actor than the guy in the original, and a much funnier character, I think, than the.
I enjoyed both Gene Hackman and
Diane Wiest.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
love her.
So yeah, I'm gonna give it to the Birdcage, but it's small. La Cage aux Folles is actually a good film, and
yeah, it is a good film. It just was. Slow for me.
There are parts of it that in this day, in 2023, I look at and go, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you, Laurent? What's wrong with you, Val? But hey, this does show the world that drag has been around forever and ever, and they're not grooming kids, they're just entertaining people. And
yeah, in both versions,
yeah,
it turned out straight.
The kid turned out straight. And, you know, the only one trying to groom anybody is the conservatives trying to make people in their own image. So, yeah. So, both of us choose the Birdcage.
Both of us haven't chosen the same movie in a
long time. A long time, yeah. So, and it's minor for me here because I liked both films.
Yeah, it's a close
call
for me, too.
I did like Robin Williams a bit better than Ronaldo in the original. I think in the original, Ronaldo is just a bit too forceful.
It comes across to me as somebody that is used to stage acting and not film acting.
Yeah, and I think that's probably. I am curious though. I will be watching.
What do you think, Artemis?
What do you think? If there's no birds in either one, I don't care. I do think I will watch the second and the third La Cage aux Folles just to find out. Okay, so let's roll the dice and see what we're doing next time. Random. I will edit this out. 33. Let the right one in, let me in.
Oh, fun!
Another foreign film remade for English, but
I am a fan.
Yeah. So next time on Refried Scenes, we will do Let the Right One In and Let Me In, and I may bring a little bit of the book talk into that because I have read the book.
Yeah, bring it. I encourage you to do that.
So I may bring a little bit of book talk into that one because there are some changes made to both films that I'm curious about. So, okay, so next time we'll bring on the kid vampires. For
now there's a TV series, so maybe we'll have some more opinion.
Yeah, that's true. For now, I'm Carol.
And I'm Mia. Thanks for listening.
Bye.